to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, but it was worth the risk, I assure you.
On the 13th of May, Doom arrived on the Xbox One, PS4 and PC. Originally intended to be titled Doom 4, but the number 4 was later dropped as the game is basically a remake or say reboot of the series. Now I own it on the Xbox One and have played it through and completed it on the normal difficulty setting of Hurt Me Plenty. I finished it in over 10 hours. The game, as far as I'm aware, doesn't highlight your completion time, so it may have taken me a bit longer. The game comes with a single player campaign option as well as multiplayer and snap map, which allows you to create your own maps to share with other players. As you can see from the footage, I'm using weapons that you only gain later on during the campaign. Once you complete it, you can revisit any chapter with your guns and power-ups that you obtained through your first playthrough. This new version of Doom is handled by id Software and published by Bethesda. The multiplayer option is handled by a different team by the name of Certain Affinity. They have worked on games such as Halo 2 and 4, Black Ops and Left 4 Dead. Now, with the world of gaming being heavily dominated by first-person shooters, it's always difficult to provide something new or add an extra twist to an already oversubscribed genre. With any new version of Doom, it's always going to have a huge amount of hype attached and big expectations, because Doom has such a long legacy and has inspired countless amounts of first-person shooters over the years. When the beta was released over a month ago, many fans were left disappointed with the multiplayer experience and what was available. Thus, a number of critics gave it less than stellar reviews. Now, you can't obviously judge the game solely on the multiplayer experience. The full game wasn't given to journalists to review in advance, which left more and more worried about its overall quality, but thankfully those doubts have been put to rest. The game on release received very positive reviews, with many praising its single player campaign. Now, I'm not going to spoil the story for you, but it is essentially what we have already experienced before. Far into the future, they are on Mars and experimenting with energy from hell. This power source is self-sustaining and can satisfy all their power needs on Earth. But everything goes to shit thanks to one individual who has been communicating with the demons, and this causes the dark side, as it were, to unleash itself on Mars. Your character awakens and finds himself surrounded by the possessed, and grabs a gun and suits up to cause as much carnage and mayhem as he possibly can. You communicate and meet up with a cyborg or say robot called Samuel Hayden, who designed the technology to harness the power of hell, and he helps you shut down the portal to stop the monsters coming through. You also along the way discover your own history and why you are there, plus find out who's being naughty and let the demons run amok. Spoilers, it's this old bag. The game allows you to hold all the weapons you pick up along the way, just like the classic version of Doom. You don't have to worry about dropping anything or trying to save space. Your health and ammo pickups are scattered around the maps. But you also can gain power-ups as you punch down your enemies, or if you whip your chainsaw out, you can strike gold and unleash a huge amount of ammo and health to restore you to maximum capacity. Your spacesuit / body armor can be upgraded to increase your health, armor and ammo capacity, plus your existing weapons can be modded for secondary attacks, such as your combat shotgun can fire an explosive shot, or your rocket launcher can lock in and target a demon and fire multiple rockets. My favourite weapons are easily the super shotgun and plasma gun. These are both great for dealing with the majority of the monsters. Get close to them and whip out your super shotgun and you can take out a Baron of Hell or a Hell Knight pretty quickly. The controls for the game are extremely tight and responsive. The game is very fast and intense and rarely stops for a breather. You are always on high alert, just waiting for more demons to materialise. During the early stages of the game, you have to destroy gore nests, which are a source of power for the monsters. These have to be taken out to progress further into the game. For the most part, you have to clear all of the areas for the doors to unlock, especially on Mars. The facility will go into lockdown until the threat has been eliminated, so you can't just run through a level and avoid the monsters for a quick run through. You have to destroy everything. The multiplayer mode, which caused a bit of a hoo-ha with some gamers, is for the most part a lot of fun. I played the beta and really enjoyed it. It felt to me a lot like Quake 3, which encouraged me to pre-order the game, which I rarely do. But I took advantage of some discount and got it for £10 cheaper than I would have done if I'd picked it up on the day of release. I own a few FPS games, but I'm no pro. and I don't play online that much and only in a casual fashion, so to me it was perfectly serviceable and something I would return to on a regular basis. There are plenty of multiplayer modes to select instead of the generic team deathmatch. As usual, you can customise your outfit and loadout of weapons. You can gain more options of weapons as you level up on your performance. It doesn't take long to unlock a decent arsenal. It took me about 3 matches to get to level 6, so even if you are a bit rusty, it shouldn't take too long to get into the swing of things. The snap map option allows you to edit maps to share with other players. Creating maps isn't really my type of thing. I don't really have the time to invest in this option, but I had a quick go and it seems very straightforward. But there is plenty of maps created by other creative players to take advantage of. So if you enjoyed making maps for the old Doom games, then this will be a lot of fun for you. The graphics all round are very impressive, detailed, and the frame rate remains high and smooth throughout. I never exhibited any slowdown even when you have so many demons on screen. It never felt the game struggled. Its heavy rock soundtrack comes into play when the monsters suddenly jump on you and everything goes bonkers on screen. The music really helps you get focused into the destruction and mayhem that just explodes every other minute. Thankfully, the design of its levels, and especially when you arrive in hell, feels like you are in that Doom world, and it didn't feel like you are playing a carbon copy of something else. The attention to detail remains faithful to what we love about the original Doom. It features all the iconic monsters from the classic game, even the Spider Demon. The love and passion for the original is clearly retained in this game. The music does homage some of the classic themes from Doom, but nothing really stood out and made me think I had to own the soundtrack at some point. It does its job perfectly, but didn't leave me wanting to hear it as a separate piece. For this review, I'm using the 3DO soundtrack. That conversion was an abomination back in the day, but the soundtrack was amazing. What I love about the game is that it's a full-on video game. It's not attempting to be a movie with this gameplay added. It doesn't have lengthy cutscenes that brings the game to a halt. There are cutscenes of course, but it's always within the game engine and not a pre-rendered sequence that continues the storyline. It gives you short samples of a story to keep you invested in your character and his mission to find the truth and to destroy hell, but it never attempts to ram the story down your throat or involves quick time events, for example press B to avoid being killed or whatever. As soon as the game starts, you lock and load and get straight into the action. That felt really refreshing to me. So many games have you talking to people to gain information or having to go through lengthy step-by-step guides on how to play it. Doom is so easy and simple to pick up and play. Is the game scary? As a kid, the old Doom would always make me jump out of my seat when a random demon would pop up from behind. This new version still retains those jump scares, but it's not as unsettling or spooky as Doom 3. That game was pretty hard in my opinion, and I didn't really get that far into it. That version added a heavy element of plot into the mix and didn't focus on the visit to hell and instead focused on the facility on Mars, which this version does, but it mixes it up with visits to hell and back, so there is more variety. The cover for the physical release does have a piss-like colour scheme, to which critic Jim Sterling nicely pointed out, but thankfully you can reverse the cover to the new beautiful art piece that follows a similar style to the classic box art from the original '93 release. I highly recommend this game. It's everything I wanted from it. My expectations weren't extremely high or low. I wasn't watching preview clips or reading up on its development. I thought it looked good. I played the beta, which I thought was fine, and to my surprise the game delivered on all fronts. The single player campaign is its selling point. Most FPS games focus less and less nowadays on a single player mode, but instead want to put all their efforts into multiplayer. It's refreshing to pick up a shooter that gives you a lengthy single player adventure that is over 10 hours long and doesn't get boring. It throws in the story and communication with Samuel Hayden and your body armor's AI called Vega to spice things up so it doesn't become repetitive. There is enough variety in it to keep you invested to the very end.
They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear until it is done.
If you enjoyed the video, you can find more on my YouTube channel, and also you can follow me on Twitter. If you want to help support the channel, you can donate through Patreon and receive monthly perks such as updates on the latest news on my channel, early access to reviews and commentaries before they go live on YouTube. Even the smallest donation can help keep this channel going. Thank you.